areas. But today we're here to give you a little insight on where we are with our tiny house that we got the grant for last year. With me today is Kelly Clyburn and Jerry Smith from the ATC. My name's Kenneth Combs. I'm from Breathitt County High School, and I'm the engineering instructor. So last year we were approached with this idea from our administration, and we were approached to see if we had interest in this. And after talking with these guys, we knew how big of a project this would be, and we knew that it was going to take more than just one program area to be able to complete this. So we got our heads together and we figured out a plan on how we could all collaborate through the Breathitt High School building and the ATC, and to make this thing happen. I think we've got a good plan, and on our PowerPoint that we sent in, we've kind of outlined that as well as we did last year in the spring. But we'll kind of talk more about the organization today. Some of you guys that don't know what's going on with it, but the tiny house, we were granted $15,000 to get this thing rolling. We're hoping we can do that close to budget. But with that, basically you have to have a structure that is under 500 square feet, and it's got to incorporate all the amenities of a regular home and be able to move it from place to place. So there's a lot of design challenges that go along with the tiny house that you don't see on just a residential structure that is just placed somewhere on a solid foundation. So there's some things that you've got to be able to manipulate and change from the regular, average everyday home. And so what we worked on was getting some ideas about structures. What's the structure going to look like? Will the size be appropriate? Will we have enough space to fit in washers and dryers and heating units and beds and couches and all the things that you'd see in a normal home? And after doing some design on a CAD program, which is computer-aided design, we realized, hey, there's some things in here that we can do and make this, a pretty comfortable living situation. With me today, I got some of our students that worked on this last year. This young man was a big part of the actual grant presentation we did in the spring, Braxton Eisman, and he can kind of give you a minute or two here about what he's been a part of and how the design, the computer-aided drafting part, really affects what we're going to be doing down the road in months to come.
Like Mr. Combs said, we was very grateful to receive this grant. We felt like it was a big project, but we felt like it was a good project to allow students that were pursuing careers in carpentry or engineering to allow them to learn how to manage supplies and manage money and manage time, since we're working against a deadline. The computer-aided design aspect of this is very important, as we got programs nowadays that we can test structural integrity of design on the computer before we actually piece it together in real life. And this is important because this is going to cause us not to waste time. It's going to cause us to accurately use our supplies. That way nothing's wasted.
Kind of where we stand right now, we're on schedule. Last year, as part of the criteria here, we had to submit a schedule, a work schedule, and weeks 1 through 9, we're all on task. We've worked on measurement, reading blueprints. Now we've worked on the CAD and design part of it too. So they've already ordered some materials. They've already got a trailer or structural foundation is basically already in. And the next thing the subfloor is in. They're starting the walls this week into next week. And once that step is complete and the walls are done, we get an idea of space. We can come in and have these students come in and actually measure, the kitchen area, measure the bathroom area, and once the walls are in, we can get a detailed measure, and we'll go back and use that to design a set of cabinets, the woodwork and the other amenities that go inside of this. And the ladder, for example, the ladder goes from one level to the next. Those are all big time design challenges that we can use a program called Autodesk Inventor and some of our sketching and drawing programs to be able to complete a detailed blueprint on just how to build the cabinetry. So the overall layout is we're going to be able to do a lot of the cabinetry and make the millwork and things in our wood shop, and that will help these guys at the ATC who are basically building the structure and doing some of the electrical and plumbing and all the other parts of the house, the build process. And that's how we're going to incorporate all these things together. And I'll let Kelly Clyburn talk about that a little bit right now from the ATC.
Okay. Hello. Like Mr. Combs said, I'm Kelly Clyburn. We've really, as far as my program's concerned, we've really not got to do a whole lot on the tiny house yet. Like Mr. Combs was talking, the subfloor's in, the floor is insulated, and after the walls are set, after the roof's put on it, then we'll be able to start drilling holes in the structure, installing the electrical entrance, doing a layout for outlets, lighting, things of that nature. And that's where some of my students will be coming into play. Mr. Booth, he's the carpentry instructor, Mr. Gene Booth. He wasn't able to come with us this morning, but he's got a full set of plans drawn out, gives you every cut, every length, every 2x4, how long it needs to be, all that's laid out, and it's a really good set of plans. We've added to the electrical of it. We have a good idea of where everything's going to need to go. But, of course, that's like anything else. Things get changed. They alter as you're going through the project. So far, just to kind of give you an update as to what we've been able to do to it, we've installed jacks around the corner to make sure that the floor and the foundation's level as we build on it. Insulation's been added to it. We've had a batting installed underneath it. So we're ready, like Mr. Combs said, we're ready to go up with the walls. And we're also very, very blessed to have Mr. Smith here. He's our computer teacher. He's handled the financial aspect of it. He keeps us within budget, keeps us from buying components and stuff that, keeps us saving money and keeps us within budget. So,
so we're right on task. As if you look at our mapping, we're kind of where we should be. So within this next 9 weeks, we'll be able to get a lot of things accomplished. A lot of the materials are already in, and that's really half the battle is kind of getting everything there just to get started. But as far as the future looks like we're going to be on task. We'll know more by Christmas time where we'll be. Hopefully by then we'll actually be starting production of the cabinetry and the custom millwork to make this thing work. I wish we had a place to show some of the presentations, some of the pictures. Mr. Smith's done a great job here. We're kind of calling him the marketing director, but he's going to be helping us sell this thing and to put this thing on the market. So they're kind of keeping track of all the steps and all the processes that are involved, and they're doing just a great job.
Keeping everybody up to date on Facebook too.
Yeah, doing it. Yeah, so there's a lot of spreading this information out here, getting these kids out, showing them what's some of the building processes, and it's really a movement. You can see on DIY and these home networks that are out here. There's they call it the tiny house movement, and that's kind of, I'm sure, where a lot of this grant evolved from. And it's basically, green building, and that is helping the environment, to save money, time, right? So we can go on and on. We're pretty excited about it, as you can see. Anybody else? No?